What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. My name is Brennan Tassif. I'll be your host. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com/merch-store. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. We'll put the shorts up there, the full video, the whole thing. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I hope you love it. Subscribe on Patreon, too. We do bonus episodes. I do Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about celebrities I've waited on and whether they're assholes or not, which is super fun. Also, we do a pre-show banter for my other show, Cheers from the Press Box with Joe Dorville. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on over there, too. Make sure you just subscribe everywhere, just all over the place. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not leaving the mean comments, thank you for that. Maybe leave a couple nice ones.
Grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I am your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do. Hang out with friends, get drunk. I don't know what to do with my hands now that I have these things. Get drunk, do drugs, and reminisce about those crazy stories. Yeah. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with somebody and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by guys. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, Tyrez Keaton.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
What up, dude?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Hey, first of all, I just want to say congratulations on the sobriety. Let's clap
Thanks,
it up
man.
for the sobriety. You know what I'm saying? That's a journey.
That is my... It's funny because sometimes newer comics don't understand that it's a needless applause break. So I'll be at like shows or mics and they'll mention that they're sober and then they'll pause to be like, where are the claps?
Right.
And then people will start clapping. I'm like, you know, you're not supposed to you're supposed to get like an applause break for like something funny or like something good. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to like fish for it.
Yeah, like, oh, I've been married for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they'll, no, wait, I'm not happy the whole time.
Yeah. Or my favorite is like, so I was engaged and everyone claps and they go, well, I was engaged. And then they go into a bit. It's like, they're setting you up. Like just.
Right.
When people say they're sober, I never clap. And then I always get hate because people are like, Brennan, aren't you so? And I'm like, yeah, son. Like,
it's like good job.
Yeah.
buddy.
You turn your light. You were getting in a lot of trouble. Good job.
Hey, you're an adult.
Yeah. Hey.
You did it.
I'll actually do it at shows where I'll be like, needless applause break, needless. And I'll like call out the audience.
Yeah.
And nobody gets it, but the comics in the back are always like, you're an idiot, man. Plug everything up front before we get too far into anything. Plug everything. Social media. This will come out in 2 weeks. So any shows you got coming up, all that.
All right, bet. 2 weeks. Well, my name is Tyrez. You can find me on social media at Tyrez for Prez. Tyrez, number 4, Prez. I did it like that so people can easily, their brain can know how to pronounce and spell my name a little better. You know what I mean? Actually, I'm going to be gone for the holidays. So, we do have a big year coming up early January. We got some shows down on McDougal Street.
Boom.
Follow me on the gram, and I'll have all the calendar dates, and you can come see me if you wish.
Hell yeah. We met at the Cellar through a mutual friend. It was funny, too, because to your point about your name, my friend who I was hanging out with, Emily, she kept going, Tyrese? And you're like, no, Tyrez. And she goes, Tyrese? And I go, please stop. Please stop.
I'll be honest though, that's happened my whole entire life. No matter, and it doesn't even have to anything to do with it could be black, white, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes because, if it's a white person, they be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the name
That's how I was thinking.
Yeah,
I
feel you.
Stop.
I'm like, but the name is made up. Like I say this on stage, like the name it's not made up, but it's a fairly new name.
Yeah.
Like my mom had several suggestions and then misheard the last suggestion and then said, okay, we like that. And then that's what it was.
So that's interesting because my name is Brennan, but I work in the service industry and then also doing comedy. Like your name gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
So I get Brandon, Brendan, Brian, and so I understand like just that one or two letters mispronunciation where you're like, yeah, okay.
I wanted to throw a D in there, Brendan.
Yeah, everybody does.
And then, but you know what? The show Home Movies helped me out. because it was a show on Adult Swim where it was like this weird little animation, and one of the
Oh
main
yeah, I do know the show.
Yeah, his name was Brendan.
Yeah.
I think it was Brendan, and he was
Well, for anyone who's in comedy, I say Brennan, and they go Brendan, and I go no Brennan like Neil or Kevin.
and then
it clicks because they're like,
works.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've told this story before, I think, but I've met Chappelle a couple of times living in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it's the same interaction. He's normally drunk. He never remembers me. Obviously, why would he? And then I'm always like, hey, man, I'm Brennan. Like, it's so nice to meet you. Like, it's an honor. And he goes, Brendan? And I go, no, Brennan, like Neil, because he worked with Neil for a long time. And he always just goes, oh, man, that's crazy. And then, like, literally that has happened 3 separate times, and he never remembers. And I'm always like, come on, man, how many Brennans are you meeting?
Yeah, really. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel so bad sometimes because, like, I have a name that's like people have to keep saying, and then they'll remember me more like most likely. But if I meet like 6 Adams in a span of 3 weeks,
forget it.
I'm gonna forget 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then they say, "Oh, what's up, Tyrez?" I'm like, "You're Adam." I'm like, and then they just be like, "Oh, okay, all right, this guy doesn't care."
Well, and it's interesting too because there is a subtle like pronunciation thing with your name as well. Because when I first met you, I was thinking Riz like R-I-Z.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not right.
No.
It's Rez.
Yeah.
So because I remember because I kept saying that to your point about your name, I kept being like Riz. Remember, it's Tyrez. And then that was wrong the whole time.
I mean, honestly, it's so far off that I may not even pick up on it. I mean, that's not that far off.
Yeah,
that
I
I
know
may
what you
even
mean,
pick
yeah.
up on it because Tyrese, and it's like almost sounds like it could be like an accent that you have mixed with an American name.
Hell yeah.
So it just works.
So I want to get into it. Before we get it, you sent me a couple of stories. We got Dave and Buster's. We got house parties.
Oh, my gosh.
But before we get too far into those,
Oh, no.
I always like when someone is a first-time guest.
Yeah.
Are you originally, just get a little background, are you originally from New York?
No, I was born in D.C., but I grew up in Maryland, and I get like a lot of my, I guess like a lot of my soul from like when my family's from Georgia.
Yeah.
Like I spent more time in Georgia than I ever did.
Because you
in
seem
DC.
like I was going to say Southern, but I didn't want to presume.
Yeah, I mean Maryland's a southern state, but when
Yeah.
I go down to Georgia, they call me like city boy or something.
Yeah.
like like a northerner. They don't look at it as the South. But if I'm in New York or Boston or something,
As someone who's from Florida, I would not consider Maryland.
yeah, you
the
wouldn't
South,
because that's
yeah.
you're in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it's interesting too because Florida is like the northern part of Florida is
Yeah.
like hell yeah,
Yeah.
damn right, like deep south.
Yeah.
But then the further south you go, the more metropolis it becomes. It almost like switches.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're in Miami, nobody's like, oh, you're a southerner. They're like, yeah, you're not.
no, they all talk like yeah, totally, or they talk like it's almost
Miami is very much like a metropolitan, like New York, Chicago,
Yeah,
LA,
okay.
kind of like, oh my god.
I've never been.
Really?
Nah, I've never been to Miami. I've been the deepest I've went was I think Orlando.
Yeah.
I've never been any further than that.
Okay.
But I spent a lot of time in Jacksonville.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Gang,
cool.
gang, man.
Yeah. I used to go to
904.
my grandmother's house, and during the summer we would walk across the street to the Circuit City and play
I
on the
know
laptops.
I know exactly what you're talking about without you even saying
For
where it
real? By
was.
the Publix?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
In Arlington, yeah.
Dog, that is
Yeah.
crazy. We would walk there, play
There was
Brick
only
Breaker.
one Circuit City, like and like for the main Jacksonville area, there was
Yeah.
only one Circuit City for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
back in
know
the day,
that.
there
It
was
was
like-
right across from the apartment complex.
And there was a Publix there.
Crazy,
There was a
dog.
shopping center. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, let's get into it. So, when did you? Because I say this with all my guests because it's so fascinating to me. Comedy itself is a very niche thing. So, like,
Yeah.
we're in it, so we know it.
Yeah.
But like, you meet someone and they'll be like, "Oh, I love stand up," and you go, "Oh, who's your favorite stand up?" And they go, "Oh, Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy," and you go, "You obviously are like everyone knows those names."
Right.
So. People aren't as in it as they think they are. For you to be doing stand
I
up,
got you.
because like I'll tell people like, oh, I love Tom Segura, and they go, who? And I go, dude plays arenas. Like he's a big. So
Right.
like,
Right.
for you, how did you even find stand up? Growing up in Maryland.
That's a good question. Honestly, I think it was just a matter of like gradual suggestions from my mom
Okay.
to do things in entertainment or like the arts, whether it was acting, because she saw that I wasn't academically focused. So
Yeah.
she would always just try to suggest things that were in another field. And then
Okay.
she saw the way that I behaved. I'm like,
I was just about to ask that.
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So she would see that. And then eventually, I remember moving to New York for acting. And then
Okay.
I was writing jokes just because. And then I came back to visit. And then my cousin lived across the street from a place called Jackpot.
This is
It's
in
in
Maryland?
Gallery Place. It was in Jackpot Gallery Place. And he
Okay.
told me that they had comedy down there. And I haven't had these jokes. So I'm like, all right, I guess I got to do it. He's like, you got to do it. You got to do it. So that was my first time doing it.
How old were you at that time?
22, maybe 22 for my first time ever. But it wasn't like I did it like probably 10 times in like 4 years. Though.
Yeah,
after that.
I started at 22, literally the same kind of thing where, I mean, different reasons, but 2009 is when I did my first open mic.
Yeah.
But between because I had stopped playing college football and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I was like, well, I've always loved stand up. Let me try this.
Yeah.
But then I was same kind of thing where I was like doing a mic like every couple of weeks, every couple of months, like going on stage and stuff. But this is a bit that I do, but I changed all my handles on everything. And anytime a new platform came out to Brennan T Comedy after my second open mic. And I was only doing it like once every 2 or 3 months.
I feel that though.
And then that would get me in trouble because people were like, "You're a comedian. My buddy's doing a show. You got to be on it." And I'd be like, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!" This is back in Florida where
you've only done it like 4 times, and then you're, oh my god, bro. My first couple times, I was like, I don't even know what it's like. I would get my mannerisms would be funny, but I wasn't funny to say
as far as writing and stuff.
I mean, no, I would go there and tell some stories,
Yeah.
and then I wouldn't know when to expect no laughs or nothing. And I remember the first time I got a big laugh, I like leaned forward because it was so unexpected, and the audience was like, ew, and they all like pulled back, and then
Ew.
yeah, they all just started. It was on my face. It was like,
hey, it's funny now because I still go to a lot of open mics, like when I have newer material. Because I'm of the very athlete my whole life and stuff. I'm of the mindset where it's like, if it's a show, like that's like a game. Like you don't want to try something new when you're trying to especially if people are paying and you're getting paid. It's like, I'm not going to just throw something out there. I'm like we were talking about before the mics went on. I'm not famous enough to get away with that stuff.
Right.
So I still go to a lot of open mics, and it's funny when you see people who are brand new, like move to New York and then they're here and they're like, I'll try comedy. And because same thing, they'll just be rambling like with a story and you're like, tag it.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
Put the pins in
I
it,
just want to like take them under, and then they'll end the story with like, well, yeah, and I guess that's how it ended. And you're like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
But obviously they're brand new. But it's to your point. Like when I first got on stage, I was like, oh, I'm going to be like a shock jock, like, edgelord. And I was doing, and like, I've got my joke book there from 2009 where I was like, I need to burn, like, this is garbage. Like, it's all like, jokes about forcing yourself on people and assault and stuff like that. So it was really bad.
Which can be funny, but
yeah, but I wasn't the person to do it.
Right. And when you're not funny doing those jokes, then it's like, oh, maybe he really does live like that. And then, you know what I mean? It's like terrible.
Yeah. So you moved to New York for acting. So this opens up a whole other realm because I didn't even know this about you. So when you're in high school, and obviously you said you're having trouble focusing on schoolwork, your mom can kind of see that. She gets into other things. So when you finish high school, are you like, I'm going to be an actor?
No, I tried college, went to college.
Where'd you go?
I went to a place called College of Southern Maryland. It's like a junior college around the way. The first major was legal studies.
Okay.
Because it was so cool. But the only cool part about it was when I would hear about crazy cases and then when we visit actual courthouses.
Yeah.
But outside of that, all that reading, I had no focus. It just wasn't. I wasn't all the way dedicated to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I was pre-law, and then I graduated from college, and I was like, I'm not going to law school.
So you actually.
Like, I was political science and American history. But same thing. Like, I loved hearing about the crazy cases, like Miranda v. Arizona, 1963 is why we have Miranda rights and all this kind of stuff. But the thing for me was just I guess it's the same that you're talking about. It was like the incessant, like, no, you have to read this whole legal book, and it's like,
and be able to like,
recite,
recite that stuff, man. And then, which I think, honestly, I look back at it, I'm like, man, if I could do both, I definitely would, because now I'm looking at the legal system. I'm like, man, I'm out here telling these jokes. These people need help.
Yeah.
Like,
and I say it all the time. I was like, now the life that I live now, like doing the podcast, doing stand-up, working at the restaurant, like it's not hard from a, like physically it's pretty taxing, but it's also like in my head, I'm like, yeah, had I known this was my future, I probably could have done law school and and then done stand-up too.
Yep.
Like instead of now like having to like weave together like 3 different jobs in order to make rent. It's like I probably could have just had one job.
Yeah,
like I probably could have just stuck with it.
And that's what I think. Like in my mind, that's the only. I don't even have a regret, but that's the only curiosity I kind of have about choosing an obscure path. cause I got into the Air Force. I could have joined the
Oh,
Air Force.
Yeah, okay.
And I had like dreads at the time, and I was like, nah, I gotta cut my hair to join the dreads to join the Air Force. I'm not doing that.
So let's go through it. So what? So many questions. So you go to school, and
Yep.
is the Air Force after you first come?
No, I chose to go to school instead of like as soon as I took my ASVAB right out of high school.
Yeah.
Or like right before I graduated. Because my dad and my mom suggested it, and I
Okay.
did, and I got into the Air Force, and then I just was like, I think I told them I'd come back, and I never came back. Yeah, I never came back.
Same.
Yeah.
My grandfather was an original Green Beret back in
Yeah.
like the 50s and 60s, and
Oh,
he was in
wow.
special forces. So when I left football because of my 8th concussion, when I got medically white
Good
shirt,
Lord,
yeah,
8 concussions.
Yeah.
and that means you really had 20
Yeah.
because they were diagnosing them then.
documented, yeah.
Well, good thing you were fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Every time I drop my keys, I always go, it's starting.
I was
It's starting.
that's poison. Don't think
But
like that.
but I was like, oh, I'll join. Like I was drinking too much. My alcoholism has gotten out of control. I was doing drugs, and I was like, I'll join the military. That'll straighten me up. So I'm like a soft junior in college now at this point. So I go, I take the ASVAB, and the guy was like, you can do whatever you want in the Army because I scored pretty high on it. He goes,
Yeah.
whatever you want. Because it was an Army recruiter. So he was like, what? And I was like, I want to do special forces like my grandfather did. And he goes, your scores are high enough. He goes, but I see you're in college. He goes, if you just wait one more semester and get those credits, you'll be able to go in as to officer school. And I was like, oh, then I'll just wait. Never went back. I was like,
never
yeah,
went
I'll be
back.
back in 3 months. Never went back.
Right.
Because and my grandfather always told us because he had a lot of problems after with disability and stuff, and he was just like, unless you like have to go, like there's a reason to go, like obviously like after 9/11, had I been 18, I would have been like, yeah, let's go, sign me up.
Right.
But he's like, if there's not a reason to go, he was like, do something else, do something else.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep drinking and doing drugs. Like I'm not gonna go to the military.
no, I get that.
So for you, you graduate, you take the ASVAB, Air Force, locked in,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh, by the way,
I mean,
you got to cut your hair.
Yeah, and I had dread, and I knew that going in there, but I was like, nah, I really. And I ended up cutting my hair like maybe later on, like anyways.
You're like, yeah, that's a good
I
idea.
ended up cutting my hair anyways, and then I just stayed in school, and then I ended up going to a school in South Carolina. It's like some tech school, Midlands Tech.
Okay.
It was like on some Army base. Coincidentally, I ended up working on Fort Jackson selling cell phone cases.
Really?
And I'm seeing all these people graduating every single weekend, and it was just like. I don't know. I just wasn't enticed by it. 'Cause I would hear about the things that they would. 'Cause I would see what they would get, and I would see what they were striving for, and I would hear them talk. And most of them just wanted a car. You see what I mean? Most of them just wanted a car. I think I was gonna do it because I wanted to travel, and I wanted braces at the time.
Okay.
So
They had that bonus. That was a big incentive for me. The guy was like, if you sign up, $30,000 bonus. And I was like,
did you get?
for
well,
real?
Yeah,
But I never.
Right.
He was like,
right.
yeah, if you're going to officer school, you get a check for like $30,000
That's
just
amazing.
for signing up. And a lot of times people sign up because they have families and stuff, so that money goes towards like their family.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're single in the Army, you can make a great living. Like,
Yeah, see, I didn't have any
recruiters, they
kids.
talk it up, and Air Force pays even better. So they were probably like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's what actually people be like, they're like impressed when I just say I could have went to the Air
I was.
Force.
That's the hardest one to get into.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, that's what they say. It's the coolest looking one, like the coolest symbol.
Yeah.
You know, they're like kind of bougie a little bit.
They're
walking
super
around.
bougie,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you know.
As someone who grew up with a grandfather in the Army, we were always just like, fucking.
Yeah, all the jokes are on the Air Force and then maybe the Marines.
Well, there's a lot of Army like grunt jokes, but my grandfather was Special Forces. So like they would make those jokes, but if my grandfather was around, they're like, yeah, but obviously not. We're not talking about you. We're talking about
Right.
the infantry, not the Green Berets.
Right.
But so you go to school,
Mm-hmm.
you end up working. Is that while you're at college, you end up working on the military base?
Yeah, I was doing that at the same time. I
Okay.
was taking some classes they had a campus at another base, and then I was working selling cell phones, and I was living with my aunt whose husband was a drill sergeant.
Okay.
At the time, so it was a bunch of stuff. So I think psychologically that kind of just turned me
You were
off,
like, I'm out.
because I could have kept going now. Like even now, I think they let people in at like 35 or
Yeah,
something.
36 is the cutoff.
Yeah, 36 is the cutoff, but then it's just I think that kind of turned me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens? Because you said you moved to New York for acting.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, are you taking acting classes, or
Yeah.
while you're at the tech school, are you still taking law classes?
No, at the tech school, I ended up switching to like economics or something.
Okay.
And my GPA was actually really good. It was actually, it was fine.
Yeah.
But then it just wasn't. it was all pointless. I think I had just moved away. Just the experience of living with my family and being in South Carolina was probably the best part about it.
Okay.
But then then I moved back home for like a second, and then I moved straight to New York. And I ended up being on Long Island for a little while.
Did you have, so before you moved to New York, do you have, you want to be an actor, correct?
Yeah, I knew I just wanted to be in New York. I remember visiting here.
New York is one of those cities where it's like, I don't, like my ex moved here because she was like, I don't care why I'm in New York. I just want to be in New York. Like she didn't have like a goal. So for you, it's the same kind of thing where you're like, I know I want to be in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, New York has a high level of every occupation.
It's the center for every single thing.
Everything.
Of the world.
The best bartenders are probably here.
Yep.
The best construction, the best engineers, the best comedians,
the best architects, the best finance people, the best. Yeah, it's like,
we ain't not the best, but
well, no, Vegas competes, but I get what you're saying. But I mean, I've had friends on and they go, yeah, New York is like the center for so many different things. Like you'd be shocked how often like you go down to like near where Times Square is and they have like the fashion district and all that, like the garment district and all that kind of stuff. And you're walking around, you're just like, oh, designers from all over the world, like aspiring designers come here, aspiring models come here, comedians, architects, engineers, finance people, lawyers. They move to New York because it's New York.
Yep.
So at the time, that's what I'm curious about is you were just like, I know I want it. Why New York? Like, did you have, you're from, a southern part of the country.
I don't know. I think it was just, instincts, like my gut, like, that's where like I felt like I was supposed to be. And the way that things panned out, I was definitely supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Or be there for that time until I left and then came back. But I took the acting classes. I was working 3 jobs. I was working at a Mario's Pizzeria in Oyster Bay, along with a shop, a Stop and Shop. And I was like and a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
That's what I'm talking about. Like we all work like 2 or 3 different jobs.
Dog.
And you're like, if I would have just stuck it out for 3 more years in college, I would have been able to just have one job.
Yeah, I would have probably had to think about money less. But then at the same time, it was something about that comfortable, that being that comfortable and then being that. I think that would have taken away from some of the experiences that I gained.
100%. You got to burn the boats, man. You got to burn all the boats.
Yeah, and then in the end, it's like when you keep moving towards what you're supposed to be doing, no matter what you choose not to do, as long as you're still choosing the thing you're supposed to be doing, it's just the end is going to be the end.
Yeah. So. Well, and we know people, and I definitely know people who have like comfortable day jobs. Yeah. And they're like, no, but I love stand up. I do stand up. And it's like, okay, we'll see how much you love it. Like not saying that they love it any less, but a lot of times those people will fall off because they're like, well, no, and I mean, I'm guilty of it with the restaurant that I work at. Like December is incredibly busy. Yeah. So like a guy came in that I know through comedy the other night. And then he had a friend with him, and he goes, oh, how many shows are you doing this month? And I go, well, December's really busy for the restaurant, so I don't book any shows. And then as I was saying it, I go, oh, I'm turning into that person that I said I would never be. Yeah. But I mean, I like the restaurant because it's super flexible. Like next year, I'm going on tour with my buddy Matt, and so they gave me all the weeks off that I needed. Yeah. Like if I call and I say, hey, I got a spot, if it's not December, they're like, okay, take the night off. But also it's like, I mean, my paycheck being double what it normally is pretty cool. So like, I just don't book shows, and it's like, well, if you're not booking shows, how much do you really care about it?
Right. Yeah. Like if I was making 90 or to like 100 grand a year while I've been in New York, I don't know if I would be thinking about comedy as much.
It would still be that hungry.
Because I would be way more relaxed. I wouldn't be so like eager, like, hey, I got to keep working at this. Because I would already have. Because now I'm motivated by the thing I feel like I should be doing. And then I'm also motivated by, the fact that if I keep doing this, then I'll be rewarded in these other financial ways. Yeah. Versus if I'm just rewarded financially, then I'm kind of like,
well, mine's mostly competitive based. Yeah. Where I'm like, no, I love this and I'm pretty good at it. Like I want to get out there and be as good as I possibly can be.
That feeling of knowing like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I text Tracy, my girlfriend, who I have to mention on every episode. I text her a lot when I leave a show, especially on McDougal.
Yeah, go ahead.
She gets a kick out of that. But especially on like McDougal. Like if I do a show at Greenwich Village or Grizzly Pear or something, I do an earlier show. I get off and I go to Olive Tree to eat. And you're around all these comedians, just around it. Yeah. A lot of times I'll text her and be like, this is like, I've never been more happy. College football, I've never been more happy than right now. Doing a set for like 15 people, doing pretty well, and then eating at Olive Tree like around all these other comics.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what makes me the
tight.
most happy.
Watching Charlie Chaplin, hearing laughs and talking about nothing and having a good time.
You see like famous comics that come in that you kind of know.
Yeah.
And if they stop to say, hey, you're like, I'm in it, man. Like, I'm doing it.
Like, that's what, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so the world's most famous comedy club is in the city that I'm in. And then there's an area in which you can eat and chill and mind your business and be around and in the energy of amazing greatness in the field that you choose. It just makes no sense for me for not to.
It's wild.
Yeah, it
You could
is.
just
It's
be
right
in there.
there. It's
and
like-
like 2 tables down, it's like Chris Rock talking to Andrew Schultz, talking to Shane Gillis, and you're like, yeah, we all kind of do the same thing. Like we're all
And
on
you
stage.
do.
Yeah,
And
we
you do. And you all do. And no one. And none of those people and none of us have ever skipped a step trying to get to where they are and where they will be, or where we are and where we will be.
Yeah.
All the steps are the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The uncertainty, possibly, the bombing.
The open mics,
Yeah,
to
the
the bar
open
shows,
mics.
the bar shows while there's a game on.
Oh, my
in that
gosh. Competing with the Warriors playoffs games, and they have like 8 TVs.
Try Oklahoma City, where all they have is the Thunder.
Oh my god!
And you're doing a surprise ambush comedy at a bar because one of your buddies set up a show.
Yeah.
And the bar owner thought it'd be a good idea during the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
Dude, I got ran off stage.
I bet if people just, can you shut up?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's nothing you can say unless you're doing like some type of commentary about the game. No one wants to hear anything what you're saying. Like,
yeah, it's rough. But to your point, we all took the same steps. So when you move here, you move to Long Island, you're working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And you're doing acting classes.
Yeah, yep.
And so what was the transition to like go into like to dive into comedy?
I was doing so many different things. Like I was writing raps. I was doing I was in like a couple plays, writing raps, couple plays, and then just writing jokes but not using them.
Yeah.
And then as I'm in Long Island, I was focused on, the acting part, but I would like have to take the LIR or the Long Island Railroad to, different parts of the city. So I wouldn't do it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I tell people when they're moving to New York, I say the same thing. They go, oh, we're thinking about living in Jersey. I go, it's just as expensive to live in Brooklyn, or maybe not Brooklyn, but especially Astoria. I'm like, it's just as expensive.
Yeah.
You will come into New York a lot less if you have to take the path, which runs every hour, versus the NW, which runs every 10 minutes.
Yep.
Like you'll do it a lot less. And I just know that from experience because we have friends that live in Jersey and they only make it into the city like twice a week. It's like, I go to one of the clubs every single night because it's on the train. Like
you can get the train is there. It's there. You can hear it. You can get on it and you can be just there.
Yeah.
It only
Whereas
takes...
like with the path, especially at night, like it runs like every hour or 2 hours or something. And it's like a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to come into the city because like I can't. So you move from Long Island. When do you move into the city?
Well, I moved back home after that because I was so blessed. I was staying with this. Randomly, so when I moved here, I was staying with a high school friend or associate, and it was her and her sister and some other guy on the couch in some place in Brooklyn. So I moved out of there after like a month or 2.
So you moved to Long Island and then to Brooklyn?
No, I moved to Brooklyn, and then I was only there for like a month or so. She put me out. It was no space.
Yeah.
I had no money. I was supposed to only be there to find a place. It was just bad.
And then after about a week and a half, they're like, "Hey, you still looking for a place?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah.
I think they were punching holes in my air mattress. I think too. I'm almost positive because it was like holes that were just way too big.
Yeah. And I've been in those situations as a recovering alcoholic. I've been in lots of situations where you're on a couch like a couple of days, 2 weeks go by, and then someone's like, "When the fuck are you getting out of here, dude?"
Yeah, like what happened to that thing you said about leaving? And it's not happening. You're still here, and then you're here and not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
I would try to do like dishes and clean the house to be like,
it's
helpful.
never good enough.
It's never.
They always say that it is. I don't care what it is. It's never good enough. They're like, all right, you just do this and do that, and then sometimes you don't even end up doing it right or doing it at all.
Yeah.
It's
you
like
put the dishes away and they go, "This isn't where they go." Now I have to redo the whole thing. When are you leaving?
Yeah, like what is? Don't worry about it. I'll get it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Here it goes.
So you moved to Long Island.
Yep. Then I moved to Long Island. I was on my last, I had nothing. I was willing to sleep on the damn train because I was not going back home.
Yeah.
So I called my dad and I'm like, I think he just brings it up. I tell him the situation. I don't even ask for no money or anything. I just tell him the situation. He was like, man, try calling There's a guy named Aaron. He's your aunt's uncle on your through marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I call him. He's like, yeah, I'm out here in Long Island. I take care of this guy. You can come take a look at the house. There's a room up here. He may let you stay. And I misheard everything. I show up with the suitcase full. With everything in my bag, I just disappeared because the girls texting me. I remember going to work and this appearing these paragraph messages of like, you need to getting angry at everything. You need to da 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 da. You need to da 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 da.
This is the person you're living with?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure she was one tired of my brokenness, and two, I think she may have been semi-attracted to me.
Yeah.
And I was not receiving her advances.
I get it.
And then the rejection was not met well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she just he's useless.
Yeah.
He's not giving me anything, money
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
So what? So, anyways, I show up Long Island with the suitcase, and I just meet him. It's this guy named Bob Yale. Okay?
Shout out Bob.
Bob Yale. He actually passed away a few years ago.
Oh, man.
But this man's story was so legendary. Okay, first I just meet him. Okay, I show up to the house. My Uncle Aaron is there. I call him my uncle now, but he shows up. He says, "How you doing?" I meet Bob. I hit the corner. He's in a wheelchair. Okay, he had an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm. The doctors told him he was not gonna live. He lived many, many more years.
Yeah.
Okay, I meet him. He's cool. He's like, yeah, sure, blah blah blah. Maybe he let me pay $60 a week.
Get out of town.
Yeah, $60 a week. This Greek guy, and he just, I don't know, like he really truly like was so nice to me, man.
Yeah.
He owned like a fireworks company. Okay, it was called Yale Fireworks.
Yeah.
And then he had the aneurysm. And then he was telling me these stories about his family and how his business partners, all this kind of, a lot of people in his life that were around him during the success kind of disappeared when he had that. He was doing fireworks for the Olympics, Jets.
So this was like a real
Jets games, political conventions. I'm not going to say which one because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he was doing that. Jets
This is
games.
like a legit.
Yes.
This isn't like a roadside stand.
No,
like
this man had a company. It
Yeah.
was successful. And then he had the aneurysm. Then they kind of took over the company from him. Okay, for whatever reason, whatever.
pushed
You know,
him out,
yeah, they kind of pushed him out. You know what I mean? People kind of gave up on him. The doctors told him he wasn't going to live that long. He has like a year. Fiance left him. Okay, I remember as a joke, he would have in this back room, he had a dartboard and he had a picture of his fiance. And he would throw darts at that
That's
joint.
classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
He was like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, she's a total whatever. But then he would randomly send her flowers, too. So he was...
You gotta keep people on their
he
toes.
He had a good heart, man.
Yeah.
That was a good dude.
Yeah.
He was never down. He was typing. He was surrounded by, like, all these monitors, like, because he was typing and he could talk pretty decently. His brain was all there. His body just couldn't... He wasn't able to move it like he could. You know what I'm saying? But... yeah, he let me stay there, and I was in there for and then I got a job, Stop and Shop, Mario's Pizza. I was a pharmacy tech at the Rite Aid over there.
Okay.
And then Dunkin' Donuts, the most legendary one, because I had like a Sri Lankan boss. Tyrez, please. This is how you talk. Okay, please do it very nicely. Do it very nicely to the customer, please. Okay, they were so nice to me.
Yeah.
And then everyone else was there was like from Bengali.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this lady named Foxy.
Donabad Bandu. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hear stuff like this.
Yeah.
Tyrez, you she would just
Yeah,
be,
a lot of our support staff's from Bangladesh.
Yeah,
so I know how to
man.
like say thank you, my friend. How you doing? Like all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't learn any of the words because she would just be yelling at me all the time. But she was it was like that motherly thing.
Yeah.
Because she was really mean, but really nice.
Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that though when you go into a place. Because in New York, it's interesting because I work with like career servers. Like this is
Yeah.
our job, and we're all very good at it. But then you'll go into like a quick service place or even restaurant sometimes, and the people there are terrible.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not. There's 12 Dunkin' Donuts within like 4 blocks. Like I'm never coming back to this.
Yeah,
one.
I'm not doing this.
So I like the fact that they were like, no, customers.
Yeah,
be
he
nice.
was on it,
Be
man.
nice.
We were on it. We even got Christmas bonuses there.
Yeah,
It'd be
let's go.
this Jewish guy who owned like hundreds of Dunkin' Donuts on Long Island. He would come in,
You could've
check it
just said
out.
Jewish guy. We got it.
Oh well, he's stupid. But he was he would be formal too and speak to the people that were
Yeah.
in there. And all the best owners of businesses communicate and
100
show up to their business.
100%.
Okay, they're not like being guarded and off-putting and only talking to certain people. Those are some of the coldest people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But he would give Christmas bonuses, couple $100. Like it was like
It goes a long way when you're only paying $60 a week.
yes, I was that's $60 a week. I was like, oh my god.
Why did you end up going back home?
I think you know what I think I went to a funeral. I went to my grandfather's funeral,
Okay.
and I kind of was just there. I had lost I was working so many jobs, and I had been there for like a year, for like almost 2 years in that place.
Yeah.
And
Are you going out on auditions and stuff at this time too?
a little bit, but I wasn't
Nah.
really. I was at home. I would just be writing raps, free
So
stuff, reading
tired,
books. I was doing a lot of different things, like feeding my mind, but I wasn't really doing anything like action wise.
Yeah.
So, and little did I know that's probably why I didn't have the motivation to really stay and stick it out.
Yeah.
But then I told Bob, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head back home. And I ended up moving in with a couple family members. I was probably like 24, 25 then.
It's interesting you say that. You're the second guest in 2 weeks that
Yeah.
a funeral brought them back home, and they're like, I guess I'm just going to stay.
But yeah, I mean, it worked out because I had a lot of, not to get too deep, but I ended up, like, my dad owns detail shops all over Maryland.
Okay.
Like tent shops,
Yeah.
detail shops. It's called Pro Wash, Car Wash.
Shout
Check it
out.
And I remember going back and just working
Put a
there.
link in the show notes.
Link in the show notes. And
Yeah.
I knew that back in my mind, I knew I could do that. And then my brother he has a nonprofit called Swaliga, where it's like a education exchange program. He
Okay.
takes kids from DC or wherever, takes them to Africa, brings them back, and he just interacts with high schools and middle schools.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
teaches them STEM programs, stuff like
Yeah.
that. STEAM. He has something called STEAM the Block. He does that like every year. But anyways, I moved back. I want to be a part of all these different things, and part of it was kind of laziness
Yeah.
because I lost focus on my own things and was kind of relying on feeding other people's dreams.
Yeah.
In a way, which you could do at the same time, but I wasn't working on anything for myself.
But no, that is a slippery slope. Where you're
Yeah.
like, I'll just help them with this.
yeah,
and
that's
then all of a sudden it
you,
turns into.
you just didn't want to try no more
Yeah.
a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I've had to. When I was younger, I was very susceptible to that because I'm a people pleaser. So it's like I'll just help everyone else and I'll forget about
Yep.
what I'm doing.
Yep.
And as I've gotten older, it's been it's been difficult, but I've actually put up boundaries. Where like family members have started businesses and they're like, "Hey, you have a lot of experience in this field. Like if it's a restaurant, they're like, "Can you come help me out?" And I go, "No."
No, that's
Like
not,
I'm doing my thing in New York. Like,
Nah,
no.
nah.
And they're like, "Oh, we'll pay for your, your housing and you'll live right next door to the restaurant. Like
Yeah.
we own the house next to it and you'll never have to pay for anything." And it's like,
indentured servitude.
yeah, but it's like, I'm not, no.
That's gonna
like,
go nowhere for you.
well,
Unless
it's
you're
also
getting,
like, do you know how much work I had to put into getting here to
right,
New York?
right,
Like,
to just stop everything and go. Because I was
Yeah.
in like a rhythm. I knew places to go as far as like acting wise.
Yeah.
I was building a little something. But yeah, people pleaser. So I was easily convinced to go back home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
it wasn't that hard.
No, it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, no, I can believe it. Every time I go and visit home, I'm always like, I could.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't.
could.
Yeah, and then, but also at the same time, like I was praying for like I think like to resolve some issues too.
Yeah.
Because I think that ended up being resolved when I moved back home and then eventually left.
Okay.
Like so all my relationships, everything had got cleared up as far as like knowing how I felt and letting it be known how I felt and things like
Closure,
really,
yeah.
a lot of closure happened that really helped me out. That helped help my family out too.
Yeah.
Like so so me and my dad are like really tight now.
That's awesome. So then you come back to New York,
Yeah.
head first back into everything.
Yep. Like years later, maybe like 5 years later. Like I moved back when I was like right before I turned 30. Like, well, I think it might have been just turned 30.
Okay.
And I moved back. And then, and I just hit the ground running because
Yeah.
I knew exactly what it is I wanted to do. I knew exactly where.
And you already had kind of a foundation because you had been here before.
Yeah, I did. Yep. And I had bombed so many times at other shows. Because I
Yeah.
had moved back and I was still doing comedy a little bit, but I was bombing, but I was also doing good. But then I started working at, my mom told me this, if you're going to take this alternative path, find jobs that pay you in more than just money.
Yeah.
So I'll purposely
That's
found
so
jobs. I found jobs
That's
at
so smart.
a jazz supper club I was working at for a while, and I worked at a comedy club for a while, and then I was able to just be around
Mm-hmm.
the actual comedy musicians. I was able to see like Macy Gray, the OJs, Music Soul Child.
That's awesome.
Local comedian named Joe Claire. He would always host his monthly show.
Okay.
So I met comedian Tyrez.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
met people. I didn't even know the level that like the respect that they had, but I was meeting these people and talking to them, and it was just great, and it really
Yeah.
helped. So that was like
Well, that's a big thing too, because like I have that here now at
Yeah.
the restaurant I'm at, because it's right in between the stand and the cellar.
Yep.
So like so many comics come in there, and a lot of times it's just like, oh shit, like that's Louis C.K.
Yeah, if you're gonna work anywhere, you might as well be surrounded.
yeah, by what the thing,
Yeah, man. Like that only makes sense if
Yeah.
you're not gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather do that than be up in some floor 50 in some office.
You say that, but I did walk in. We had a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
And my basically for lack of a better term, my girlfriend's brother's girlfriend's brother.
Oh.
So like, but he's a lawyer.
Yeah, right.
And we had Friendsgiving at his house, and I walked in 33rd floor in this nice building, and I was like, I could have done this. This would have been cool.
Yeah, I feel you.
This would have been cool.
I feel you. I feel you on that.
Fuck, I got to move this leaf.
Oh, did it fall?
Yeah.
I was noticing. I kept looking. I was like, did this thing move?
I had it, and then it slipped out, and then slowly but surely it just kept coming down as we were talking.
Yeah, I was like, did that thing move or did I slouch or something? But yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's get into some of the stories.
Yeah.
So when did
no.
Did you grow up in like a really strict household?
It's not really. Yes
Okay.
and no. They were strict about grades, strict about not getting in trouble in school.
Yeah.
And talking back, things like that. But it wasn't like two different households. The household I grew up in, my mom and my other dad, what someone called my stepfather. And then the other household would be my dad and then my other mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I got it.
So it'd be my biological dad would be at this house down the street, like a 20-minute drive. It wasn't like he was someplace else.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then my mom and my stepfather, we'd be in a different town, like 20 minutes away. So basically, I would be in this one household. I could watch Dragon Ball Z. I could play Pokemon. I could play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I go to my dad's house. We're not. First of all, Dragon Ball Z is the devil. Pokemon. That's
Is that your dad's house?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
It's
I
got to
thought
be
you'd say
evil
mom's.
because it's real. Because they're both. I went to church in both households.
Yeah, because you still go to church now. Yeah.
Yeah, I just started going back again. But my dad's household, real religious, only gospel music, no secular music, unless I was riding with my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when he started driving and 50 Cent came out, man, it was so tight. He introduced me to a lot of music. But then my stepdad, he'd be bumping Kanye, Slim Thug, Pharrell.
Yeah.
He would be bumping Ludacris, all these things. And he had all the shoes. So it was like a good mix of everything.
Yeah, because you get the exposure to both.
Yeah. So
You were popular, I'm assuming, in high
no,
school.
I,
Really?
I was more, you know what
You
the
seem
word?
very charismatic.
The word that I would like to use is Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man used it. Infamous.
Okay.
I was well known, but it was always for goofy, bad, annoying things. I was known like, that's the guy. Oh yeah, it was. And I had my friends though. I had my group of friends. It was all cool. But I remember. I'll tell you a quick story. I lost a fight in about 10th or 11th grade. I lost a fight. Okay, that's the fight. That could be bad.
Yeah.
I lost a fight to this. It was this big gay dude. Now imagine losing a fight to a gay dude. Well, if you're a straight dude at any point, it's bad. It
Losing
just looks,
a fight, period, is bad.
it is bad,
Especially in high school.
Man, I lost a fight. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the story. He came off this bus, this thing called the Van Gogh. Okay, he comes off the bus and he has these rainbow suspenders. Me and my friends are sitting along the curb, just like the movies in the just like the grown up
80s,
age
90s,
movies.
yeah.
We're sitting there watching a couple friends skateboard. They start going in on him. He's real flamboyant black dude, real flamboyant. No. And then something in me told me to say something, and then I didn't even feel it. And I say something, I hop in, and he knew, like, I know you ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, he came over there and said some stuff, blah, blah, blah. My friends hyped me. You gonna let him talk to you like that? You gonna let him talk to you like that, dog? Man, we end up getting some type of scuffle in the woods. I mean, not in the woods, but like in the street.
Yeah.
And I do like some, he's swinging. I'm doing like some Matrix moves.
Yeah.
And I'm
This is where
sitting
the
on
Dragon Ball Z kicks in.
You dig? I love Ali, you dig? So I'm sitting there on the ground. The fight breaks up because my friend's dad is in the yard. And then everything stops. And I'm sitting on the ground like this. I fell, trying to dodge. And then I get this swift kick in the back. Quick kick in the back. I go whiplash. Look like I got in a serious car accident. Neck goes forward. And then all my friends are slicing it up again. Oh, you got to fight him. You got to fight him again, Tyrez. You got to fight him again. And my friend's dad's like, y'all take this someplace else if you're going to be doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, bet. Yeah.
Not even like break it up. Take it somewhere else.
No, which is real, that's daddish. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Man, we go into the woods. I kind of get my ass whooped a little bit. Like, I get hit like one good time. I don't know. It's foolishness. I'm like,
With
yeah.
rainbow suspenders.
Look. I'm like, take your best shot. I do some like crazy, take your best shot. He swings, crack. Oh. And I'm not knocked out or anything.
Try this. Boom.
Yeah, man. I'm like, and my friends are like, and then we all walk back silently because it kind of ends after that. It wasn't like, it's never like no beating. But man, we walk back silently, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually word spreads through the school.
Of course, it's high school. That's what
Word
happens.
spreads through the school on the bus, and all these different kids from these different grades know about it. Because everyone in my neighborhood that I was friends with in our cul-de-sac was in, let's say I'm in 11th or 10th or 11th, one friend's in 9th, the other's in 10th, the other was in 12th, and another was in 12th. So it kind of naturally spread to the whole school, dog. Oh my gosh. And I also have, man, so I go back to school and it's kind of, the word is getting out. And then I'm in these different electives where everyone's in different grades.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, you gonna let them, man, nah, bro, you gotta take care of that. You gotta do this and that. And I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
But I remember going home that night. I'm sitting holding like a bag of peas right here. And I'm like, and I don't tell my parents, 'cause I never told them. And I'm like this.
Mom's house or dad's house?
Oh, this is my mom's house.
Okay.
So I'm just like this, blah, blah, blah. And then I knew it really got bad. But anyway, let me skip ahead. So anyways, we set a date. I started telling people in the school.
Save the date.
Dog, yeah, we going to, hey, look, a week from now, yeah, we going to fight. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to figure this out.
Dog, and me and the gay dude, we ride the same bus. And he's always been loud. So he's talking trash on the bus. That's what happened. It wasn't my friends that told everybody. It was him on the bus.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. I don't know what, but something's got to be done. Man, a date gets set like a few days later. And then, I mean, kids from all over the neighborhood, all over the school come.
This is your first performance.
Dog, and it turned to be hilarious. I mean, it was so crazy. It was like 40 kids out there. My friends came and got me out of the house. Because at first I wasn't going to come out. Because I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be. But I've told everybody. I broadcasted. I've promoted the fight.
He's talking shit.
Yes, I promoted the fight. And he's been telling people that he whooped my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is your first bringer, yeah.
I had just... I had just got, okay, and then about 2 days before the fight, just got like my first girlfriend.
Okay.
Just got my first girlfriend. She knows who she is if she ever sees this. Just got my first girlfriend too, okay? Anyways, they just said, they come get me out of the house. We walk into the thing, and I'm so cool with it. I got my daggone phone in my pocket, like some little cool flip phone, and I'm running into the circle. I'm like, yo, hold this. Boom. And I walk into the fight, and I'm like this, and I'm just not, like, he's not really hitting me.
Hold this.
It was like some dope stuff. I promoted the fight, showed up to the fight late, like, you know, showmanship. Yeah. Hey, yo, hold this. And then walked up into the ring like this. Not really.
I'm going to do that in my next set. I'm going to walk up and as the host is coming on, I'm going to be like, hold this, and toss my phone up.
Yeah, they're gonna say something.
They're just going to drop it.
Who the hell are you?
They're not athletes, so they're just going to be like, whoa.
Oh, my God. Dog,
what happened?
Man, so look, we're in the fight, rumbling. Like, he's missing, I'm missing. And then at one point, I do like some comic book stuff. I like swing, and then I go and I say a word as I'm swinging. I go, blow. All I hear is a bunch of people laughing. The whole circle's laughing, and I see my friends laughing too. And my feelings aren't hurt. I'm like, blow. I say it like it's a special move. Like it was crazy. Blow. And I miss the special attack. Okay. And then he's
got to recharge that, man.
Man, that was it. I only had one. And then it was like fall. And then honestly, it sounds like, I mean, and I back up a little bit. Then I slip on like some leaves. Uh-oh. I slip on the leaves. And he has like a good 80 pounds on me. There's no weight classes in street fights.
Nope.
My friends are like, grab the skateboard. They're trying to throw the skateboard at me. Grab it, hit him with the skateboard.
No.
And if I'm mad, I'm like, I can't do that. That's just something bad is gonna happen.
Illegal.
If I miss, nigga, what? He gets the skateboard. Who's gonna tell him not to hit me with the skateboard?
Yeah.
Man,
you guys gonna jump in?
No. Okay. And then I was like, then I slip, fall on the leaves, and then I'm like this, trying to cover up, and I'm covered up, and then eventually I think the cops will come in. Everyone breaks up the fight. So one, I left with no bruises. But it's an obvious ass whooping.
Yeah.
It's an obvious ass whooping. I couldn't get up. He's storming me. I'm like this, And I just remember later on that night, there was two girls that one I had my girlfriend, and then the other one, it was the other girl. Yeah, what happened? I heard you lost. Nah, it was a tie. I'm lying, saying it's a tie. I'm hanging out with my friends. We're all sad. Like I'm like a little quieter.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of like off-putting because it's not good. Like I've damaged the whole circle.
It's the whole thing is broken.
Oh my gosh. Two things happened the next day. The next day, I remember I go into class. My friend who was there, who's in 12th grade, we have an elective. The English teacher's laughing at me about it. The typing teacher's laughing at me. Yes, everyone's laughing at me about it. And he was like, my friend was telling me, oh my, it was so hard sitting beside you for that whole time. Like the whole school was laughing at me.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, I brought this. This is my fault.
Brought
you know
this
what I'm
on
saying?
yourself, yeah.
Man, the school was laughing at me. My girlfriend breaks up with me. She calls me.
I was waiting for that.
She broke up with me within a day. She was
as
like,
soon as you said we started dating 2 days before this.
oh my gosh. She was like, yeah, I just can't handle this. People keep asking me, am I dating the guy that got beat up by the gay dude? I just can't handle this. This is just too much. And I'm like, I'm not even mad because I'm just so like defeated. Like, this is terrible.
Damn.
And then, yes.
So you were known throughout the school, but not for the reason you wanted.
Yes, it was infamous, but I was always known for like getting into verbal things with teachers and other kids because we would be joning. The DMV is known for just joning and just making fun of each other. And I always had something to say, but everyone else did too. So it was all a bunch of joning happening. And then when that happened, I had little to say for a while. Girlfriend broke up with me. Teachers heard about it, and I knew it was bad when there was kids that went to the church that my dad went to, that went to my school. They found out about it, then told my brother who had already been in college. He dropped me off in work, man. So what's this I hear about you losing to
really?
the gay dude? Yes. My brother who went to a different...
Did your dad ever find out? Because that's what I'd be worried about.
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. Nah, he wouldn't have.
Just because you said he's a little bit more strict.
I probably should have told him. He would have gave me some life advice if I wasn't...
Or an ass whooping.
Yeah, nah, he would have been like, son, you gotta... That's what he would have did.
Blow? Really? You went with blow?
Oh, no, I wouldn't even told him that. I didn't even know how ridiculous that was until later. So my friends kept bringing it up. Blow! Blow! It was ridiculous, bro. Yep.
So when did you, because you sent me, like I said, we were talking about some of these stories. When did you start drinking?
Oh, I mean...
was it in high school with the same group of friends?
Nah, it was right when I graduated. I didn't drink or do anything until right when I graduated.
Okay.
And then we would drink only like at parties sometimes.
Yeah, because I was a late bloomer too. So that's why.
So none of us were like 18. All of us were still under 21.
Yeah.
So we would only drink at parties where the alcohol was, who knows how we got it. You know what I mean? So we was never drinking and doing too much. Then we started smoking a lot though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So smoking was a bigger thing then?
Yeah, we would smoke, sit, play zombies, black ops, chill at a couple houses that we could just chill at all the time.
Yeah.
But we were always outside, basketball, football, watching each other skate.
Did you play sports in high school?
No, I played a lot of outside sports. Like I played soccer as a kid, like recreation. Then I played basketball a couple years, recreation. And then after that, it was just we were always outside playing basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did the Dave and Buster's thing happen?
I don't know. It was probably when I moved back after that first time in Long Island.
So you're like 30.
23, 24. And let me tell
when you moved, okay.
I get invited to my brother's birthday party.
Is this in New York or Maryland?
This is Maryland.
Okay.
Maryland, PG County, Dave and Buster's.
Got it. Shout out.
Yep. Shout out Central Avenue over there. And this is actually is not funny at all. Sorry. But so I was told you I was going through some stuff with like the relationships between certain family members wasn't good because as a kid I didn't feel like fully accepted. So, but I would still come around, but I would just be like held up because I didn't really feel like I could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been there.
So
There's
I get
some houses. I'm like
yeah.
that
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get invited. I'm working for my dad. I get invited to go to my brother's birthday party, whatever the Dave and Buster's, and I'm still not really.
This is your older brother?
Yeah, and I'm still not really comfortable just being around all of my family all the time. So before we go, I didn't even really want to go. I'm like, all right, bet. All right, bet. I only had a piece of cake that whole day, no food. So we get into the car and immediately I'm drinking a 40.
Yeah.
And then later on we start drinking some peach schnapps. This stupid stuff. I'm not eating. I remember being at a McDonald's right before we went in. Nah, I'm good. I don't want nothing to eat.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm all partied up. Man, drink. I remember.
Are you playing games and like having a good time?
A little bit. I was only there for like a little bit. I ruined the party. The situation ruined the party.
Are you saying because you were drunk or because showing up?
No, I ruined the party by my drunk. What happened because I was so drunk. Okay.
So you're at the McDonald's. I don't want any food.
Nah,
Let's hit the party.
Yeah, no food.
You walk into Dave and Buster's and what happens?
Well, I'm walking around having fun. I see the little table where we're all at, the birthday cake.
And you're drinking, throwing them back.
I go to the bar. We were drinking in the car. I didn't even drink anything at the Dave and Buster's yet. Drinking in the car, blah, blah, blah.
So you're drinking that peach schnapps in the car?
We're drinking a bunch of, we're thinking Paul Mason. Peach Paul Mason.
Ugh.
Yeah, just drinking this college liquors with no food and I'm already like a skinny dude at the time. I'm just not, man, I remember leaning over. I dropped my phone. and I leaned over and I try to pick up my
This
phone.
is at the table?
Yep. No, not even at the table. We're at the top, the bar stool. We're about to order some stuff.
Okay.
Someone sitting beside me. I dropped the phone and I'm about to lean over and get it. Like, no, she's like, I got it. I'm like, no, I got it. As I'm reaching down, some chemical reaction, I leaned down. I just blacked out for a second and fell on my face. Lips all busted up. Almost broke all my teeth. It was crazy.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's just such a.
It is. It's
boom.
Yeah, it was crazy, dog. And I'm like,
I got it. Boom.
And then it was off, and then she offered to pick it up for me. And I was like, nah, I got it. I didn't even want to go.
Paul Mason blowed you.
Yeah, I didn't even want to go. Still went. Had to, you know what I'm saying? All these things.
Yeah.
And then I fall, and she runs over and tells him, hey, whispers to my brother, hey, yo, Ty just face planted. And I'm on the ground, messed up, hit my head a little bit. Man.
Bleeding?
Yeah, a little bit. Like my mouth a little
Yeah.
bit. And, man, ruined the whole thing. My dad came over trying to, hey, what happened to my son? He thinks the cops done beat me up or something.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. He came over angry.
The ground. That's what happened, Dad. The ground.
Yes. I whooped my own ass. Both times my ass ever got whooped, I whooped my own ass.
And that's the title of the episode.
Whooped my own ass. For lessons. These are lessons.
These are. That's what I like doing about the show.
Ooh, devastate. That could have all these things you talk about. Man, that could have crushed. I don't know what it was, but I always was like, man, I always found accountability in these things.
Yeah, for sure.
I found an accountability even when everyone's like, oh, what's wrong with him? Well, that's irrelevant. What people are saying to you about what you've done. Just look at how you can fix the situation and how you led yourself to be there because you're in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're the common denominator in a lot of bad things that happen to you.
That's a great way to look at it.
You know what I'm saying? Whether
Yeah.
you chose to be around people that treated you bad or whether you chose to do things that led you to make bad decisions.
And I like that because that's something as a recovering alcoholic I have to think about all the time. It's like you put yourself in this situation.
Yeah, that was you. You
Yeah.
knew what you was. Yeah, it was your fault.
Yeah. And that's interesting because in my super secret program, I'm not allowed to talk about because it's anonymous. We talk about
Absolutely. I could tell by how fast you just went through that right there. Ooh.
we talk about taking accountability. But another big thing is like whenever you're mad at someone or pissed off, one of the big things that they'll always tell you is like, well, where are you at fault? And sometimes you think like I'm not like this person is mean to me. I'm not at fault. And they go, yeah, but you went.
Yep.
You didn't have
you
to
did.
be there.
You knew how those people would treat you,
Yeah,
most likely.
exactly.
And you went over there trying to win, secretly, subconsciously trying to win people over.
Yeah.
I'm not who you think I am. Look,
Yeah.
I'm a great time. Nah, you don't. If you're not invited, you're not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Like mine is like faith based. Like God is saying, like if you like rejection is protection.
Yeah.
It's a cliche, but it's true. Like
It's a cliche for a reason.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be. Cliches are amazing things
I
because
love
it's
them.
simple truth
Yeah.
that's telling you the obvious. You know what I mean?
You're not supposed to be there.
No, and that's okay. You don't have to.
And then you wanted to. It's like that story where the guy's drowning, and then a boat comes by, and he's like, "No, God will save me." And then a helicopter comes by, and he goes, "No, God will save me." And then he dies, and he goes up to heaven, and God goes, "I sent you a boat and a helicopter.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Reach out. I'm here. The hand was there.
I
Touch
was
it.
trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's
the
like
whole time.
and that's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, because
Like-
I mean, I feel like that a lot when it's like, and it's interesting too because there's certain times where it's serendipitous. Like I'll leave a club at a very specific time, not even on purpose, but like I'll just leave a club, and as I'm walking out, another comedian that I kind of know will be walking in, and then we'll be like, "Hey, what's up? Oh my God." I want to get you on the podcast. Let's do it. Or like the thing with what happened with us, with Greg, where it was just like, oh,
Yeah.
you guys should meet. And then we hit it off and we're talking about the whole thing. And it's one of those things where it's just like, that just happened because I put myself I moved to New York for comedy. I put myself in a comedy club. So it's like, yeah, I don't have a spot at the Cellar, but I'm here.
You made a good choice by going to places where you knew you did belong.
Yeah.
You should be.
And
without
I was
trying to,
rewarded for
Yep.
it.
And you went there to mind your business.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like, this is a great time me just being here.
Yeah.
I don't need to, you know what I'm saying, try too hard, passing out scripts.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying? So,
I do sometimes at work. I will do that. Like if a big comic comes
hey,
in,
do
I'll
it.
slip in I moved here for comedy.
yeah, dude, you should.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Let's see
and
what
then,
happens.
and you're not lying. And why should I hide who I am and what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's foolishness now.
What happened at the farmhouse?
The Project X party.
Yeah.
Same group of friends.
Yeah, of course it is.
This is same group of friends. This is way after. This is a few years after the whole like we done
The fight
graduated.
and everything?
It's like a couple of my friends are still in high school. and then me and a couple others that just graduated.
Yeah, because you said you had friends that were in lower grades.
Yeah,
too.
yep. And we covered all the grades at the same time. You know what I mean? So we're at the farmhouse, big Project X party. It's actually the girl who I moved to New York with.
Oh, really?
Yes, she was really good friends with some friends that were in my group in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we go to the Project X party. Everyone's drunk.
For those of you who don't know, Project X was a movie about this massive party.
Ridiculous party.
Yeah, like took up the whole block. It was like
hundreds
teenagers.
of kids.
Yeah.
Hundreds of kids.
It came out after Superbad, but it was kind of like this take on like, what if Superbad was a comedy about these nerds going to a party, but what if it was like basically like, what if the party they were going to was like epic?
Yep.
And so they kind of played on that whole like high school party thing.
Yeah, they did.
But turned it up to like 11. So you guys are at a farmhouse.
Yep, at a farmhouse.
Middle of the woods.
Infinite. Yep, basically at the middle of the woods. There are neighbors all around, but big ass farmhouse, acres, like to the point where during the daytime she would have people drive 4-wheelers and drive gators during the daytime.
Yeah.
The parties at night. Everyone's drunk. It's getting drunker and drunker. And we're not, me and my friends aren't even that drunk. We don't even really drink that much at these parties. We may have a beer or something, but no one's getting, there was no tour up.
There's no David Busters.
Nah, no. You see that? I was becoming an adult when I was running from problems. You see that? Anyways, I was still in the fun, I don't care phase. The party's happening, and I'm waiting for my turn to ride the gator. And I see my friends zipping around in circles with me and my other friend. Let's just call him Spanish guy number 1 and black man number 1.
Got it.
Whatever. It doesn't. I want to shout out to
Spanish guy and black guy.
Dang, I want to say their names. I don't even know. One's got a family. The other one's working hard. I don't know.
Because you'll say it and then you'll call me in 20 minutes and be like, "Hey, can you take that out?" And I'm gonna be like, "Nah, I gotta listen to the whole thing."
Because to this day, his girl hates that story. It's so crazy because he's been with the same woman his whole life, basically. Not his whole life, but
I get what you're saying.
And she still brings up like, "Oh, I just hate those." See, this because there was women involved on the gator. She just hates the story because those girls he was driving around.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So we're driving. He's driving the gator. I'm sitting in the driveway waiting for my turn, and then he's driving, and I hear, and do you know those little big those divots like in front of houses where in the suburbs where it drains?
Yeah, the drain. Yeah.
Man, all of a sudden I see them cross the street. Okay, and then the gator just takes this dip. And
you just see the lights and
it disappears for like a second, and then it pops back up. And then it was like a movie, like some Dukes of Hazzard here. Boom, engine cuts off, the hood goes flying up. I'm running over because I'm like, oh my gosh. And then someone the hood flies up and hits someone in the head. All of a sudden, my friend hears it clear, but I'm running over there, and all of a sudden we all hear, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. Oh my goodness, dog. And then we all start running away.
Spanish guy number 1?
It was somebody number 1. I don't know who it was. Allegedly, this may have never happened. Now, someone gets hit in the head with it. He's all in high school, so it doesn't really matter. But he would hit him up in the face. Oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. Oh my goodness. No one's like devastatingly hurt, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a scar somewhere, probably still from that. Cause you know what I mean? The hood flew up and hit her dead in the face. Yeah. And then we all just started running and scattering. And I'm mad because I'm like, they done ruined it. I wanted my turn.
You never got to ride the gator.
No, and then the gator they abandoned it in someone's yard. So yes, it was right across the street. We had to get out of there. It wasn't cranking back up.
Oh,
and we just ran.
Man,
we ran up.
That's like a $5,000 piece of equipment.
Yeah,
you broke it. You were like,
eventually the parents came. Oh my God, that happened to us so many times. We went to these giant parties in that area, and then someone's dad or uncle would show up. You need to get out, and they're not even. It's like I'm like, what? Like it's so crazy.
You guys had the party. What do we?
Yeah, it'd always be these giant houses, and it'd be some house in the woods, and then oh my gosh.
I remember when I was in college because I played college football for a couple years. We had a house party, but it was at like we weren't allowed to have fraternity housing. Like that was a thing at the college that I went to.
Why not?
It was in Boca Raton, which is like a suburb of Fort Lauderdale kind of area, but it's a really wealthy area. So like it was just in the city bylaws that there was no Greek housing allowed, even though there was a college there, because they didn't want to like lower the property value.
I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've all seen that movie Neighbors. You don't want that
they would
to
have
happen.
They would have been part. They wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. But what would happen was a lot of guys who were in fraternities would all rent a house together. So it wouldn't be a fraternity house, but it was a fraternity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because you can't stop 5 guys from renting a house, and if they all happen to be in the same fraternity. But I remember one time we had a big Project X party like that. And I remember the cops showed up. And I didn't know, it wasn't it was the cops. But at the time, like, I was still fearful of authority.
Yeah.
This is before, like, my alcoholism got really bad, because I've been arrested 8 times, and that's when I stopped caring about authority. But at the time, I was still really scared.
You can't stop me.
But it was it was the same kind of thing where the cops were like, everybody out.
Right.
Except the people who live here. And I noticed some of the other players who were like juniors and seniors weren't leaving, but I knew they didn't live there. And they go, no, like, they can't kick us out. Like, our friends invited us to this house. They can't kick us out. And I remember being like, yeah, you can't kick us out. Dude, they dragged me out of that house. But I was like, I thought I was supposed to be here.
Oh, my God. They don't care about that.
But it is one of those things where, like, somebody shows up and, like, just ruins the party every time. And you're like, all right, I guess it's fucking over. But for you, it was dads and uncles. It was never the cops.
The cops did show up a couple times, especially after we drove the gator into some stranger's yard.
Yeah.
And they're outside. The cops showed up, and then everyone just leaves.
You just walk out.
Yeah, the cops will show up a couple times. And then, or someone else that really, like, let's say like a younger sibling is throwing the party.
Yeah.
And the older sibling shows up, and something's broke, and they know they're not playing this, and then they go off a little bit.
You get stuff stolen, too, of those kind. Like, when you have that many people in your house.
Yep.
I remember we used to have,
people always do that. People always are. They'll steal
I used
games.
To have I used to have apartment parties, and just like my setup here, I always had my Xbox next to the TV. And there was at least once or twice where you wake up the next day and the room is spinning, and you're just kind of like, "What's going on?"
Something's missing.
And you go and sit down on the couch. You go, "What the fuck's my Xbox?" And you're like,
and
why
you'll
did
never
we invite these people.
You'll never know.
No,
you'll never know.
See it again.
Nah, no.
It's like, man, I had Skyrim in there. What the hell? I'm gonna start over.
Invite a bunch of kids with no money and no rules. They're just gonna and barely even know you. Forget that guy.
Yeah, we'll just take it. So I wanted to ask you the last story. Speaking of house parties gone wrong, I wanted to ask you about that. The house party where you knew something was wrong.
Oh man, you always know something's wrong.
I don't want to bury the lead, but
no, you're good.
Yeah.
You always, first of all, the signs of you're not supposed to be someplace are always there.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we've discussed.
Yeah, they're always there. Whether it's in your gut, whether you know someone's going to be there and you know you don't want to be around them and shouldn't be. Parties, you know you're not supposed to be there when you show up and it's 90% dudes.
Yeah.
90% dudes sitting in circles, not doing nothing, contemplating, well, there's nothing going on. How about we make something go on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just doing nothing. Man, we walk up to this party in a neighborhood called Pinefield.
Is this in Maryland?
Yep, Maryland. Okay. Maryland, neighborhood called Pinefield in Waldorf. We walk through the house. Me and my friends show up. This is one of the last parties we all went to together. And we go in there. This is when we were done. We go in there, and then we hear, like, it's all dudes in there. It's not really a party environment. The room's small. All of a sudden, somebody...
It's more a meeting than a party.
Yeah, somebody breaks the glass screen door. Not like the little... someone breaks it. And then somebody gets mad. Hey, man, who did this? Do this? And simply, the party lasted 10 seconds because the dude's brother shows up. All of a sudden, we're in the door, and we in the doorway. And then he shows up. All you see is this big pump action, pistol grip shotgun. He was like, all right, that's it. Who, say something. I was like, oh, man. He done walked by me. He walks by me through the door with it. I'm like, oh, man, that looks dangerous. And then he's like... And I knew what it was. It looked like a Spaz 12 from Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it looked like a pistol grip because it looked like modified and like comfortable. Like he could do anything he wanted with it. It was crazy. And then he goes.
I leveled up 3 times to get this.
Yeah, he did. It started off as unmodified. You can tell he had it for a while. He's been working towards it.
Yeah.
It had upgrades. Bro, bringing upgrade guns. To
a house party.
Yeah, so he was just pissed. He was done. I don't know how old he was. And he kicks everyone out. And he's like doing like this, like, like doing on the shoulder, looking like this. Everyone gets kind of quiet. And that's when we just rolled the hell up out of there. And I'm thinking I'm cool. I had like this Mike Tyson punch out shirt on. And someone's like, you're not, you think you're Mike Tyson, eh? I was like,
don't make me pull out the blouse.
I was like, oh, man, the blouse. You know what the blouse, the blouse has no accuracy at all. Very powerful.
Very powerful.
No accuracy at all. The blow.
Make that your new punchline.
The blow. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that party ended very quickly.
So that was like the last time
that we really went to, because we had done so many times. We went to parties. We done seen people fall into bonfires, hanging out at parties. Yeah. Some drunk girl, jumping over the thing and almost falling into the fire. We done seen
People do so many stupid things where I'm like, and even in my drunkest moments, I was like, don't do that.
Yep.
Like hanging off balconies or
Yeah.
sitting on a balcony like ledge.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is
Don't
not.
do that.
I'm blackout drunk, and I can tell you this isn't smart.
People jumping off balconies into pools.
Oh my gosh.
That was the stuff we would never do. But the most dangerous part was always just being places, and then maybe a couple of us we drive back and be buzzed.
Yeah.
We'd be like 19, and then be driving back buzzed. But
And that's the thing. I'm very grateful that I never got into an accident drinking and driving. But also, like, looking back now at 36, I'm like, you fucking idiot.
you could have.
There's so many things that could go wrong.
It was more than 10 years ago, and allegedly I may have been drunk. The one time I ever drove drunk, the person that was with me was sober. And he tells me, he's like, nah, man, you got to get used to it. I was so tore up. I don't even remember how the hell we got back home.
Wow.
He says, nah, bro, you got it. And I was like, in my mind, I always look back at that situation. I'm like, you idiot.
Yeah.
Like, not only an idiot for yourself, but you, like, that was like a setup.
Yeah.
It was like, what point were you trying to prove that I need to, or like, nah, you said you could good to drive, you need to drive. Like, bro, you put.
That I can't. Now being sober, I see that sometimes when I'm like around friends, especially when I go back home.
Yeah.
Where everyone's drinking. And then you'll turn and be like, wait, I thought you guys were going home tonight. And they're like, yeah, so-and-so said they were driving. It's like, yeah, but they're drinking too. And they go, well, they said they were driving. And I'm like, this is not like calling. I mean, I know you can't throw stones at a glass house because I've got 2 DUIs. But it's like, man, if I could go back.
I never did it again. I was so like, because when I woke up when I arrived that night and I woke up the next morning, I was so like, do you know how many things could have happened?
Yeah.
Like your life, everything would have just been destroyed. You'd become a burden on the family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And God forbid you hurt somebody else. And
Yeah,
then it's like,
yeah.
Now you're responsible for
Bro,
that?
you done took out some family. My mind wouldn't be no more comedy. I wouldn't be no comedy. I would have been I don't know where I would have been. I would have been, I don't know. I would have been a glass cleaner of one of these skyscrapers.
Well, hey, you made it through. You're here.
Yeah.
We're doing comedy now.
Yeah, let's get it. You can't stop, won't
Yeah,
stop.
what's happening?
You know what I'm saying?
Plug everything one more time. Tell them where you're at.
Well, my name is Tyrez Keaton, Tyrez. Number 4 and the Prez, Tyrez for Prez. You can find me on all the platforms. So this is my logo right here.
Boom.
TK. You see this? This is my logo. This is mine.
Oh, it's very Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, you dig? You know what
Yeah.
it is? You know, it's actually inspired by water. I love Bruce Lee.
Okay.
He's always talking about being like water. Water is also mentioned in every book of wisdom. There's water as an
water.
analogy for something. Okay, and I actually incorporated my initials into the logo. Okay, a friend of mine named Masai, she's a professional calligrapher, a wonderful, beautiful Japanese woman I used to work with. She actually painted this with her own custom brushes and then created this logo. The T is right here, and then the K is right here. And then in Japanese and Mandarin, they have the same lettering for water. You dig? So
And that's what it is?
Yep, and it looks just like
Wow.
my initials. So it's mine now. I took it.
Take that, Japan.
Oh, shout out to Nintendo. Let's get it, baby.
At Brennan T Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. Check out my one-man show, Ex-Drinking Buddy, a comics look at life, near-death, recovery, and redemption. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Boom. Dude, that was fun, man.
That was dope. That shit went by so fast, bro.
Yeah,
I
man.
can't use the bathroom. Can I use the bathroom? Which one is it?
Right.